Hey everyone, it's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you're at work, in the car, wherever you are, we hope you enjoy the show. Please give it a like and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, and now Spotify. You get all the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. Oh,
Sorry, my bad. I'll shut up.
all right, kill it. Thanks, Paul.
Sorry.
Big thanks. That's okay. Big thanks to the Trail Bugs for the music and our patrons: Demon Hunter 2, Aggie Jedi Master, Electric Water Boy, Antaeus, Joshua, the geocaching vlogger, Nick at Cashley, One Kind Word, Ravenclaw Tia, Shermanator 18, Butterfly Girl, Loon Trackers, the Aussie Geocacher, Sodak Zach, Geocaching Adam, Peachy 1276, the No Code Geocachers, Curiosity Girl, Tick Magnet, Marsipanic, Bricker John, Firesafe, FS Sabero, Geo Rick, Cash Addict Mel, Geocaching Janji, the Geocaching Junkie, Sir Drumalot, Janice, Tricassius, Tom Frey, Rugels, the Bruce Zero, EGK PBR, Casamaya, Master Sergeant USMC, Little Gears, Albedo 0.39. It's pardon me, it's only Barney. Purple Turtles 3, ACDC Family, and our new patrons, None of It Tidy, AFK Geocaching, and Josh Boggs. If you'd like to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com/geocache talk for more details. Patrons get path tags, coins, other geocaching swag during the year, as well as invites to special events only for patrons. Support levels start at as little as $3 a month. Well, let me start by welcoming my co-host, Jesse.
Good evening. As you're reading through the names tonight, I think my favorite current name still is It's Only Barney.
Is that your favorite one?
That is my favorite one currently. I keep being surprised by how creative people are with their names, but it may change. That. But for right now, I think it's hilarious. And the fact that you have to say it every week is funny.
I know. Yes. Yeah. Some of them are great. You know, the None of It Tidy.
Yeah.
There is. He's moving, by the way. He's leaving the northern realm of Canada, and he is moving, I think, out west, out near Land Monkeys. So that'd be interesting. Talk to him once he gets settled back in. But he's leaving the very frozen tundra of Canada. He lives way up there in Canada. I mean, he's up in the top, and so I think that he's got him another gig. He's moving out that way, and so
very cool.
More power to him. So, all right, let's jump right in. Let's get right into show 96 for April 29th. We welcome back to the show Paul Standen, aka Geopaul. Welcome back to Geocache Talk.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. You made it back. You had to.
I did.
You must have gone good the first time because you're back.
Yeah. I must have done something right the first time around.
Or he just forgot the abuse that he got last time he was here.
That's right.
Exactly.
You got to refresh his memory.
Yeah. It has been a while. We were talking before the show, and like, what show was that? In case people were wondering, it was show 40. So we're up to 96. So show 40 was last March 12th. We had I had Paul on, and so just we just had to figure out another time to have you back on the show, and so this worked out great.
No, thank you. As I said, thank you very much for having me back. It's always a pleasure to come on one of the best podcast shows out there. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. You didn't have to say that, by the way, but we
that's all right. Yeah, you can pay me later.
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't have to say it, but now we have to pay him. So
now we have to pay him. Yeah. So that works out. So we're gonna do some news first. Paul, jump into the news if you see something you want to mention, and then we'll get actually into the topics here in a moment. But a couple of news items. One was this happened a couple weeks ago, and I mentioned that I was going to mention it to them, and I forgot to mention it last week. And actually, it works out better that we're going to talk about it today, which was we got a note that it was a greetings from Lithuania, and somebody had seen our trackable. In case you're listening to the audio and you've never found our trackable, you do have to go watch the YouTube video if you want to find it, because we aren't going to mention it. You have to go see it on your own. We're not going to talk about it. That's the only time we mention it. So, but they had seen it in the video, and they sent a note because they discovered it, and so in the discovery note they put that they were from Lithuania, which brings me to an interesting point. You always talk about the countries, and so I thought I'd go through real quick the latest sort of breakdown. I want to go into big detail, but I do want to mention a couple of things about the fact that Jesse and our show is very much international. We've had a lot of international guests on. Paul, you're on, and we've had on geocaching a junkie from Ireland. And we have our Aussies we've had on recently. Land Monkey's been on from Canada. We're going to have Hendel on in a few weeks from Germany. He'll be coming back to the show again. But interesting breakdown. I just thought I'd mention this, and you guys can comment. But obviously, the U.S. We're based in the U.S., so we have a lot of U.S. followers or downloaders of the podcast, obviously. But I was surprised how many. We've got a lot of other countries that download our show, and if you're in a country that I'm not going to mention, please send us an email at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Let us know where you're downloading the show or watching the show from. We'd love to hear from you. Canada,
especially if something's really different than you hear us saying.
Right.
Shoot us an email and say, hey, this is really different here. And that'll tie into tonight too, but we'd love to hear from anybody on that.
Yeah, most assuredly. So Canada, and obviously, and then Paul, you like this. The second one down is the UK. So yes. UK is right there.
So lots of it.
Yeah, it's good to hear. Next is Australia. We have a lot of Aussie fans, and next is New Zealand. What I think is interesting is that after you get past some of the major, either the big English-speaking countries, the next country down in the list is Denmark.
Wow, that's interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's gone.
I'll jump back on in a minute. What's also funny about this, too, is we're in the chat room tonight. We have Estonia and Canada also, and then several different states, of course, because we're based here in the States. But until he comes back, we'll hit
some names in the live chat as well.
Some that you recognize there?
Well. Yeah, Mr. Close, Dan Close, who's another vlogger. So, yeah.
Yeah, and so there's then Germany, Belgium, Puerto Rico, and then Uzbekistan. How about that for out of the blue kind of? Isn't that crazy?
Cool. We got London. There we go. So I was saying you left there for a second, Gary. I was in the chat room. We have Estonia, Canada.
Oh, cool.
Checking in from different states. London. Yeah. We have all kinds of places for people. Texas,
Sweden as well. Yeah.
Sweden.
Oh, Sweden.
Yep.
It is truly international, even though we're based here.
Yeah.
That's pretty
which is great. It works out perfect for tonight, right?
Absolutely. And so, perfect topic. So anyway, again, thank you all our international fans, the ones that are on tonight, and also the ones that listen during the week and all that. So we really appreciate everybody, and we really want to try and strive to be, to bring you the entertainment and give you something of an international flair, like tonight with talking to Paul. So, all right, over to you, Jesse. We got some updates.
Yep. So we got some updates. A few things really to update, but webcam watch, it's staying steady. We still have same numbers we did last week: 281 worldwide, 114 in the U.S. But we still have 4 disabled. So they're staying on the disabled list. We'll see if they come back or go away. I think we know of at least one more that might be on that list before too long, on the disabled list, or going away anyway.
We don't like it when it's not disabled. That's dangerous.
Yeah, that's losing another one. We can't keep losing them. And then the new virtuals are up to 1387, so they're starting to gain a little speed. We weren't getting any there for a little bit. Now we're starting to get a few show up, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm guessing everybody got the same emails this last week or so about the app update. 6.0 is what they called it or whatever.
6.0.
I don't use it enough to really notice much of a difference.
I did look at it, and I can tell it's different, but again, I'm kind of like you. I use Cachely. A lot of our other listeners will use GC Droid or anything, on the Android side of things, but I don't really use. What do you use mostly, Paul?
I'm a big Cachely user.
Yes.
I just like the functionality of it. It's just so easy to use, really. It's for somebody amazingly as me who's terrible with technology. It's ideal for what I want. So yeah, Cachely. I do occasionally use the official app, mostly for the messaging services and things.
Right.
But yeah, I do tend to more Cachely, must admit.
Yeah, that's us too.
I like to try all the different apps that I see come out, just because who knows what. But I keep going back to Cachely. Cachely's that's the one I go to 100% of the time, especially if I'm in a hurry. If I really want to do it, I'll try some other stuff out if it's just to test it. But that and then the messages. They won't give that messaging ability to anybody else's. That's pretty smart of them. Yeah, that's the reason why that native app is still on my phone instead of deleted. So
I agree with you there. I think that's definitely a smart move on Geocaching HQ's part. I think definitely.
Yeah.
So also I think it was a separate email, but the email they had about different cache types and icon types. And they were kind of encouraging people to see how many events they could get in one day.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Kind of odd. They're so against event stacking and around megas, but they even mentioned like if you get to headquarters, that's a unique one, and you can get a mega and a Cedo. I was like, well, I don't think we're allowed to do that, are we?
Yeah, that was kind of odd.
It was kind of a mixed message.
Sorry, the
UK
Paul. Reviewers started something up. I don't know if it was a year or 2 years ago, and it was due to a lot of the event stacking. And it was we have to have, I think it's 12 hours between events within 20 miles. I could be totally wrong in the mileage, I must admit, but I don't know if that's something that's worldwide or just in the UK. But if you put an event somewhere, it's a good distance away, but if it's within that time, they won't let you have it. They say you've got to rearrange it.
There's something like that here, but I don't know if it's an official or an unofficial rule, or it's different per area. I think you'd have trouble doing that like in a large city, but like out in the middle of nowhere, I mean, that would make sense.
Well, we were hoping. Go ahead.
Sorry, no, I have to admit where you used to look at the events that were within like the centre of London, you used to see loads of events, and since this rule's come in, because there's hardly. Well, there's 1 and 2 events dropping up every now and then, but not as many as it used to be, like within the centre of London.
Wow.
So, it's kind of knocked them down a bit.
Yeah, we were trying to get a Ceto put in near Moga last year, and they wouldn't do it because it was the whole deal where it's like proximity to the event, and it's like, well, that's the whole point. The whole point of the proximity to the event is to get people to come out to the Ceto because everybody's at the mega. And so I know it baffles my mind as to.
Now, I've been told the correction is apparently it's we're 10 hours, not 15 hours. So yeah, I've been corrected in the chat room.
From where? From different countries?
From like in the UK.
I think that's a lot to do with your reviewer too.
Yeah, I think it is as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, do folks? I assume they do, Paul. Where they'll you go to a mega and you kind of go, okay, what all can I try to get? I mean, how many icons can I try to get? In one day. People? Yeah.
Oh, they definitely do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny because that violates the rules for her current challenges. So it seems odd that they would.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that violates rules. You can't restrict it down to 1 day, right?
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
I think they've taken the time restrictions out of the challenges now.
Oh, yeah. For some of those restrictions, yeah. Oh, for challenges, I got you.
Yeah.
It was an interesting. I like it, other than it was kind of a mixed message.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if maybe they have something else on the horizon they're thinking about, or they're changing their position on event stacking, and I know.
Possibly.
I remember when flash mobs became popular, people were making like 15-minute flash mobs and doing like 50 in a row.
Right.
So I understand why they started that event stacking, but I would think maybe there's a way to ease up on that around megas anyway.
Yeah.
But
agree.
They should go a little
don't
bit
know.
lenient on megas, I must admit, and around megas, to be honest. You'd have thought it would benefit the game more if they let these little things go in and people try their hand at different things, like maybe a Saito that they've never tried before.
Right.
You'd have thought they'd be a little bit more lenient on it. So
Exactly.
Well, we've all seen the rules change from time to time, so
yeah.
we'll see what happens. But it was interesting for the
definitely.
news anyway. At least it gives us a couple things to talk about.
Yep. All right. Well, Paul, we're gonna jump right in, and we're gonna talk, ask you some questions. One, you put a note in the notes that we have about a mega. We're just talking about megas. Tell us a little bit about the UK mega. What is what's coming up with that one? When is that? And
we have got the Yorkshire mega coming up this year. Every year we have a mega in normally a set county. Last year it was Devon. We had in Bicton College, and it was fantastic. It was really good, really well done. Probably one of the best UK megas I've seen in quite a while. And the year before we had Wales and everything, but this year we are going to Yorkshire. So a little bit further of a drive than Devon, but going up the country, going to where people talk a little bit differently.
Is that more? That's right. Is that more northern England?
Yes, yeah. It's a lot higher up. It's like it's hard to describe.
Okay.
I was never good at geography. But it's
towards Scotland. Towards Scotland. Okay.
Yeah, just get in your car and head to Scotland, and as you're about 3/4 of the way there, then you'll
head that direction. Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Exactly. And we've got that going this year, and it seems to, from what I've read so far, it seems to be a really, really it should be one of the best megas going that we've had in the UK mega.
Okay.
So yes, it looks very promising. A lot of people I've heard are going to it. That's for certain. So, but it's being held on Saturday, the 4th of August this year, at Newby Hall and Gardens in Yorkshire. So yes, it looks quite good. The thing I find interesting is with UK megas, everybody they have like a set theme of colour. So last year Devon was like black and green. The year before Wales was like I think it was dark red. Red was Essex the time before, and Yorkshire have gone totally out of the way and they've gone purple. So everywhere you go at the moment, you're just seeing a sea of purple of people wearing the merch. So it's quite
awesome.
It's quite different. It's quite nice.
Now, does the same committee, or in general, are the same people on a committee doing each one, or does it?
We kind of governed a bit by the GAGB, which is the Geocaching Association for Great Britain.
Okay.
And I think there's a committee off of that, which is like a stakeholders, and they kind of pick where it's going to go next.
Okay.
But it's not the same. It's not the same committee every time. So a lot of people put up for positions, and if they get it, then they run it basically with the help of the stakeholders, I believe. And as I say, Yorkshire got it. I think next year, the year after Yorkshire, I think we're going to Aberdeen, so we're in Scotland.
Wow, cool.
So yeah, and then I think the year after that, I think we're literally down the road in Sussex. So yeah,
okay.
Should be quite nice. It should be interesting. Got a good few years coming up. Put it that way.
Something we do, or with the Geo Woodstock coming up here in less, in a month, basically.
I've never heard of Geo Woodstock. You'll have to
never heard of it. Yeah,
never heard of it. No.
It's some little.
I think they're canceling it this year anyway.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Jesse can't go, so he's feeling the.
That's
Jesse,
right. I'm with you on that. I am totally with you on that. Unfortunately, the funds to get a plane ride just over there, I can't do it. Unfortunately.
I got to choose between this Giga and your Mega in Scotland next year. I'd pick the Mega in Scotland.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Just to get to go to Scotland, it would be great.
Oh, I love Scotland. Love going up there. But
you can bunker with us, Jesse.
Oh, there you
go. Sounds good.
Got a spot.
Now I just need somebody with a plane, and I'm set.
Yeah, exactly.
A private plane would be perfect. But so with Geo Woodstock, what's interesting is that it's different. They'll, like you're saying, what they'll do is they'll have people bid to get a Geo Woodstock, and then whoever wins the bid that committee will do that GeoWizDoc. So every one of them is handled differently.
Yeah.
So like Jesse was involved with the 14er when it
Mhm.
was in Denver, but
Yeah.
yet he's not involved with the 15 or the 16 because different committees.
Because I'll never
it's
do
the
that
same.
again. That's why.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. That's all I know.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
bet it is.
ton of work. But
Yeah,
but
it's the
what's
same
interesting
thing
is
here, really.
yeah, what's interesting though, for you guys, Paul, is you kind of know where your next ones are. With us, they don't announce where the next GeoWizDoc will be until the evening of the event. When the event is over, they do a big announcement. So we have no idea where the next GeoWizDoc will be. So it's kind of a different way to do it, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, 'cause I noticed you guys do that because I've been saying for years I wanted to go to Joe Woodstock, but I've also been saying I want to go to Moga as well.
Yeah.
I see quite a few videos, obviously, that Jesse's put up and Josh has put up, and every year I see the announcement. It's now going to be in so and so place. I'm like, that's where I'm going. That's right. And I never make it, but yeah,
yeah,
I'd like to get there. I must admit.
Yeah, I think with Moga though, I think this last year may have been the last one.
Oh, really? That's a
shame. It's a shame. Now, several megas, and I don't know, you can tell us how the megas work over there, but several megas in the US don't move, which is fine. That's like the Yuma, the one in Yuma, Arizona. It's always in the Yuma, Arizona mega. ASP is always in New York in the park. There's several like what's the one I'm trying to think of the cache West Bend.
Cache Bash.
Yeah, West Bend. It's always in West Bend. So different, that those don't move around. Some of them, really, I don't think most of them move.
We have
any
a few like that? I must admit.
Are there any over there that are competition style, like Moga and like the Texas Challenge?
That's what kind
competition
of
elements to it.
That's what kind of attracts me to Moga. There isn't anything over here that has that sort of challenge aspect, which is a shame. If they did, I'd be on it because I do like a challenge. But yeah, no, unfortunately they don't. I think that's what attracts me so much to Moga is just how like competitive and how everyone kind of really goes for it, really training and all of that sort of stuff for it. But unfortunately, no, we don't have anything like that over here. I must admit, which is a shame.
Sounds like you're going to get something started.
Yeah, exactly. if only I had that time in my hands, I'll tell you.
Do you want to hit next? So before we get into the real differences in the meat of the show, how is the vlog going? Because that's where a lot of people know you from, is your videos that you do.
Oh yeah, it's going well. I've started a new job back in November, which has hindered my getting out and making videos at times. But lately I've been focusing on I'm going to try and do more historical style because I seem to get more of a better feedback from that instead of me just walking along and going found a cache. Instead of if I can give a bit of history and a bit of info behind it, I seem to get a lot more people more interested. It's like I did Jamie Stardust ZZZ, another YouTube blogger. For anybody that doesn't know, you should go check her out on YouTube. She's brilliant. She sent me over a David Bowie trackable, a pearl bead, I think it's called, of David Bowie's face, and I was like, right, I know exactly what to do with it. Seeing that David Bowie's childhood home is only like 13 miles away, I literally jumped in the car and made a little video of that. Just history and things like that. I do like history. And where we are where I am around here, we have a lot of historical sort of like locations, not big like well-known ones, but just kind of giving out that local history and just I find there's better feedback for that sort of stuff. So I'm definitely hitting the historical stuff more.
Yeah, I like the one you did recently about you were able to go to the Gatwick terminal.
With Dan Close, yeah.
The old Gatwick terminal. Yeah, with Dan. He's a friend of ours as well. And so, I thought that it was interesting that, that's basically the building's still there. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And that as we talked about before, we've flown into Gatwick and out of Gatwick before. So to see some of that kind of, even though it's not the same
No, but it's quite close by to where you were.
Yeah.
The main terminal was literally just around the corner from
Right.
where you would have been.
Not far.
Yeah.
But and that was a good little multi you did there. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, at first we thought we got the numbers wrong. Dan scribbling it all on his hand of trying to work out of this everything. Didn't have a piece of paper betwin us, but his hand was good enough.
Right.
The man's a giant anyway, so his hands are about 2 of mine.
Right.
So he's got enough room to write. I love you, Dan, if you're listening.
That's
awesome. But yeah, we worked it out, and it said it was like 3 miles away. I'm like, really? Is it really that far?
Like 3 miles. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, the person that placed it, who I've now found out is actually a pilot.
Oh, cool.
He's actually placed it on the kind of flight path of the planes coming in and out. So it's quite interesting because you can stand there and you literally see these planes going over your head and not that far above you, and it's really good. It's really good multi, really well thought about. So yeah.
Yeah, I had some fun there. Doing that, and the interaction with you and him was great. So
I have to admit, I posted up a video the other day. I think it was this week's video, which we post every Wednesday, and it's just me and him just basically trying to find caches in this woods. We decided. He said to me, "If you've got a series to do, I'm happy for the day after," because he came down for my barbecue. So I'll come down and we do it the day after. It's like, yeah, no problems. So we did that. And the series was really weird because some of the numbers was going like 8, 6, 7. Like you kind of, this is really weird. And it was just literally we spent about 4 hours caching and just really random things happening to us all the way through. Some of it wasn't filmed, but it's a series that I'm never going to forget just because it was so quirky. I think it's probably the most polite way of putting it. So and in the video, the amount of people have said you two make a classic a duo, like a comedy pairing. So.
Yeah, y'all are great. I saw the one also y'all did when you were at a church and you were asking me like, all right, well he's doing the math, and Dan's like, well, I'm hoping I'm doing the math right. I have no idea until I don't want to searching in the wrong spot. And
yeah, no, he's I have to admit, when it comes to any mathematical things, if I'm with somebody else, I just let them do it. You're more likely won't get anywhere near the right place if I try.
It's awesome.
So for anybody that hasn't already come upon your vlogs, how do they find them? YouTube, right?
YouTube, yeah. Go to YouTube, type in Geopaul, one word, and you will see probably a black logo with white writing for a channel. Click that, and you'll see my ugly mug, probably on most of the pictures. And yeah, click them and have a look. We've been doing them now since 2012, I believe.
Wow.
So we've been doing awesome. So yeah, it's kind of weird because the other day my daughter decided to watch it back, and it's really weird to kind of see my daughter who's like Diddy there now, who's like now up to there to me.
Right.
So it's quite weird to see that.
They do grow up, and as many pictures and videos and everything as we do with caching, you can see them just grow over the years.
Well, strangely enough, somebody actually messaged me the other day, and she said, I think it was a she, so apologies if you're listening. And she said, it's really weird because I've binge watched your videos for the past 3 hours, and it's kind of weird how you started off with one little one, now you've got a big one, and you've suddenly gained another little one who started off as a baby, who's now growing as well. So it's kind of, it's really weird to kind of watch, but yeah, they well, as Jesse probably knows, they grow up way too fast. Well, you know as well, Gary, but yeah.
Oh yeah. What do we know for In fact, Jesse's about to, have one graduate from high school. So that's great.
Wow.
Grown up, they were little bitty when we started caching, and now they're full actual people. So.
Oh dear.
One of the things we are going to talk about tonight, I think, was because it's fascinating. At least it's fascinating to me. Is we want to talk a little bit about caching in the UK versus caching in the US. And fortunately, Paul has done both, and so he's going to be perfect. He's our perfect guinea pig to talk about the differences.
Well, this is good for all those people, international and US, but. Anybody that's not in the UK might learn something new about the UK, and some people in the UK may.
Right, exactly.
Different parts, right, from different parts of the country. So,
And what to expect if you
definitely.
come over here. If you come over here and cache, maybe Paul can give you a couple tips though.
Yeah. There's plenty of things. I think I said before
Mhm.
we went live. I think
Yep.
one of the biggest things is you guys are a little bit more cryptical with your hints.
If we even put
I
hints, a lot of
yeah.
times we don't even put hints.
Oh, if I don't put hints on my caches, I there is caches out there which will moan at me that I haven't put hints on my caches.
Oh, really?
Yeah, over
Wow.
here they like a hint, but I do feel at times, especially hints over here, kind of
Yeah.
ruin it because if you look at it, oh no, okay, it's just told me exactly where I'm looking for the cache.
Mm.
Like
Whereas
real
I found,
detailed? They'll give you real
yeah,
detail type stuff. Okay.
some can be some can be like go right down the path. You'll see 5 foot from the tree on the left, and it's there underneath the rocks. And you're like,
Oh,
well,
okay.
that's just taking it away from me. That's why I
Right.
tend to over here. I tend to not look at hints unless I'm in a major rush.
Yeah,
Right.
that would
Um,
definitely be a spoiler.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, the over there I found was a little bit more cryptical. If I wanted to find out the hint, one cache in Florida, I remember having to. I went there one day and went back the other day just to pick it up because I had to go home and Google
Mm.
what the actual hint was because it was in Latin.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
and it was like,
Crazy.
yeah, it was so yeah. I found the hints a little bit more different over there.
That's cool.
I
I
think
guess.
differs, I suppose, kind of wherever you are in the world. But yeah, that was a major factor that kind of
Hmm.
hit me over there. And there's a few things as well. It's like I know in Florida, I think there was I'm trying to remember what it was called. I think it was something along the lines of it was a Florida pine cache, and it
Okay.
was I can't remember what it was called now. I'm trying for the life of me trying to remember, but it
Hmm.
was like the hint was like Florida. It's a Florida cache. Well, obviously not coming from Florida, I have not got a clue what a Florida cache is. That is straight
Oh
off the top,
yeah.
That's
No.
and
funny.
it's I don't know what the trees are called, but
Yeah.
they've got that on it, and the cache is tucked in one of them, and
Yep.
I'm looking at every tree apart from that one.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a standard Florida cache. But
yeah,
yeah, if you don't know what that is,
yeah,
you've never seen that particular tree, you would know
yeah.
that that's a standard Florida cache.
Standard Florida cache, exactly.
Right.
And
Well, I
I
can
have to
think about
admit, sorry, go on.
no, what you're saying though, the cryptic hints, I think that is pretty standard. And then I can think of many puzzles that I've seen where if you don't read the hint, that's part of the puzzle. So they'll
Oh,
Right.
put
really?
another part of the puzzle, and then there's no way if you don't read it to solve it. It's not really
Yeah,
giving you a hint; it's just another part of that puzzle. So people definitely use the hints
yeah,
a
Differently.
little differently, I would say.
differently. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Over here, there is some people that do hints a lot different, but a lot of caches, probably 80% of the time, will tell you exactly where the cache is. Which I think over here they think if it's a hint, it's got to be a hint that tells you
Yeah.
roughly if you're struggling to find it, it will be there. Um,
Yeah,
so I try not to look unless I'm in a rush and I want to know and I'm parked a bit awkwardly and I don't want to get a ticket. It's one of those one of
That's
those
true
things.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's when they
We
come in
don't.
handy. Those things.
Yeah, we try not to do. Susan and I try not to do caches where it doesn't seem to be safe. But
Mm.
as
yeah.
far as
Yeah,
There's enough
parking,
around. You can just move on, right?
yeah, exactly. There,
well,
yeah.
tends to be. Yeah, it depends on what part you're in, or if you've done them
Hmm.
like not around here, but down, go to DFW. We got. I have a lot to look for, but um. So speaking of going to big cities, well, we should go back. Let's go back for a minute. Separate from that, um, is there anything else that really stands out about? I think we've talked about this before a little bit, but like containers or the log. Do you have people who
Um,
don't sign the log that we call them
we
drive-by cashers or
we do, but they seem to get outed a bit over here. I know recently there was one cacher going around who wasn't signing any logs, and a lot of
Mhm.
people were like, right, we need to find this person to tell them. I think they caught up with him in the end and told him that's not how we do it.
Right.
But yeah, there is a few different things. I must admit, there's the other thing that I have to admit when I went to Florida to find a cache, I was quite excited to find an LPC because I've heard so much about it, and we don't have LPCs over here.
Right.
And I was thrilled. I remember pulling up to a Walgreens, I think it was, and
Right.
and going to Laura and going. I looked at the hint and went, "It's an LPC," and she's like,
awesome.
Laura's my wife, and she's like,
Right.
yeah, okay, I don't understand what that is. Lamppost cache. I've heard so much about these. I think I was the only person to give it a favourite point as well.
That's awesome.
But after I found about 30 of them, I see what you guys have.
They get old quick.
Yeah, it's pretty standard issue. Every Walgreens in the country has at least one geocache in the parking lot. I think they're built with it there.
What's funny?
Davenport's Florida's one, that's for certain. So
yeah. What's funny though is that there are times when, like, if you need one for a county, if you're trying to do county runs, or if you're trying to keep a streak going, trust me, you will not berate a lamppost cache because you need one. If you need one for a certain day or whatever, it's nice to have one that you can get.
Yeah. So. Come on now. Yeah. People bash them constantly, but I don't know any cachers that go, I refuse to find them.
Right.
Go look at their profile, and they got all kinds of smileys on there that were lamppost caches.
That's true.
When it comes out, they're going to go get it too. So it's easy to bash on, but they're a good staple that everybody, they're not exciting, but they're there.
No, but they're there. They're part of they're part of the game. But
I think our equivalent to an LPC over here is we have green electrical boxes, and there's always a magnetic film canister behind one of them, and it is a bit like. And I totally agree with Jesse. They are, after a while, they get boring. But I have to admit, when I was doing my 366 days, they were very, very useful at times. So, yeah. But, yeah.
Most definitely.
Definitely.
One of our people said that Francis in the chat room said there is not a LPC at his local Walgreens. So...
Wow!
I guess after the show, he's going out to hide one now. But no,
I was going to say he's going to go hide now.
Well, that's in violation. Then we got to shut that store down.
Yeah, really. You got to go fix that, Francis. So that can't keep that going.
So some of the go ahead.
Go ahead, Jesse.
Well, like if you're going to go out, maybe one way to tackle this too, because there's so many differences and similarities. If you're going out today, Saturday morning, you're off work, and you're like, I have time now free. All of a sudden, I'm going to go out and go caching. You don't have anything, big picked out. You're just going to go out caching. What does that look like?
We have quite a lot of caches around my way that I still haven't hit. So, yeah, I'm not short of them. Put it that way. We have quite a few different ones. I know. There's a lot of new sidetrack caches that have been published in the last year. And I know we're going to get into sidetrack caches later.
Yeah. Right, that's fine.
But there's loads recently, so I've been like, right, I'm going to hit those and get that. I definitely have a lot of caches around my way, so I'm definitely not short of them. Put it that way. So there's one for every block anyway.
Is there a more common, like today I went out and I actually got to go out both days this weekend and go caching, but today I went out and there's like kind of some open land that's north of here. It's about an hour. That's the ones I was caching. I almost didn't make it back for the show because I ended up further away than I thought it was going to be. But a lot of these were like film containers or medicine bottles or whatever taped up, along fences, and some of them being bushes and under a rock. We actually came upon a snake too. One of the rocks we flipped over today. And I think it was a poisonous one. I hadn't got to look it up yet because it was brightly colored, red, white, and black. And usually the brighter colored ones are, I don't know. I'm not a snake expert, but
like a snake.
So those are pretty typical though, like a film canister or taped up pill container, just lamppost, rock, bush, that kind of thing, bottom of a tree. Is that?
Yeah, we around my way we have a lot of because I'm quite lucky. For the people that don't know, I live just on the outskirts of London, so I can go one way and hit rural Kent, go the other way, hit urban villages. So I kind of have a lot of different type ones. If you go into London, you're going to expect a lot of film canisters, a lot of nanos. You're lucky if you find a big cache in London. There is big caches in London, but they're few and far between.
Right. Just because of the fact that you're in a big city, so you're more likely to find a nano.
It's harder to hide as well, and I can guarantee when you go caching in London, you will get a DNF at some point because just maybe a cleanup crew or something's just taking it away.
Right.
I own a cache with Terrapin Tim, which is a sidetrack cache in the Temple Station in London. And I think it's been live for nearly a year now, and I think it's gone missing 6 times in that space.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, it's not unusual for it to suddenly disappear.
Wow.
But if I go to Kent, I could find anything. I could find anything from, I don't know, fake rocks, film canisters, clip and clop boxes, like sandwich boxes. Yeah.
Right.
Wait, hold on. Let's back up there for a second. What'd you call that?
What, a clip and lock box?
Clip and lock.
Clip and lock. All right, I like that.
We call them lock and locks, I guess, don't we, Jesse?
It's probably what we call them here, but I'm useless with remembering.
No, I like that though.
I like that thing.
Clip and lock. I like that. I'm going to use that in one of my cache descriptions coming up. People are like, what?
Yeah, that confused people. Oh, it's not a normal lock and lock. It's a clip and lock.
Right. It's a little different. It's a clip and lock.
So what about what everybody thinks is the best cache container ever? Ammo cans. How often do you come? You have some of those, right?
I have one at the moment, which is I'm part of the European chapter for the Dirtbags over here, and I had to hide a cache for that, and that's an ammo can, just because I wanted a really established, nice one.
Right.
The ammo cans, I can honestly say, I'm hitting 1,800 and something caches, and I think I've probably found 5 or 6 ammo cans in my time.
Oh wow!
They're rare, put it that way. I know there's caches in the UK that as soon as they find an ammo can, no matter what it is or where it is, it's getting a favourite point because it's an ammo can.
Right.
So yeah, I have to admit, ammo cans I really like them, but I wish I could find more of them. I tell you. So yeah.
We don't find many. We don't find many around here just because most of ours is not rural. Whereas where Jesse is, he probably finds a lot more ammo cans.
Yeah, I come across them a pretty good bit, but in the mountains and out away from the city, you can get them. You can see them out there because they hold up, and there's animals and there's everything out there. So
right,
yeah, exactly. They're ideal in those sort of situations, aren't they?
Yeah,
yeah.
So those are the standard type hides. Is there anything that that are over here that you don't have over there, or that you have over there that we don't have? Any types of, like, everybody has gadget caches, and we all wish there were more.
Yeah,
but that's not extremely common.
Yeah. The only cache I could say that I've found in America that I have never seen over here, I suppose I have seen over here, but it's slightly different, is one of your medicine pot, because you guys it's like an orange medicine pots over there.
Yeah.
We have clear medicine pots over here.
Right.
So that we find obviously medicine pots, but they're totally different color. That's the only thing I could probably say that I haven't. That's slightly different over there compared to what's over here. I found nanos, film canisters, ammo cans. Right. That all sort of variety. But yeah, I'd never found an orange one. Put it that way.
Right.
Until I went to the States.
He was talking about pill bottles, by the way, Jesse.
Pill bottles.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering what a medicine pot is. I'm just kidding.
No, I love it. I'm going to use that again too. So
reuse that.
People are going to be like, "What is wrong with this guy? His descriptions are crazy."
Yeah, no one knows what I'm talking about. Even the English ones sometimes, so I wouldn't worry.
Just make up your own words. That's the way to do it. What about if you're going out? And I know this is going to change, and it's different for everybody. And even Gary and I are different on our styles. But like difficulty and terrain, is there a pretty good mix on those, or do they tend to, in the city, all be pretty easy because there's not much place to hide them? Or
they in the centre of London, I can honestly say that a lot of them are 1.5s. But you can find your more extreme ones. I know there is a superb cache. So anybody who's going into London has to do this one. It's called, I think it's Father Thames and the Mermaid, I think it's called. Okay. And it's a cache. Now, I'm not sure. I can't remember because I obviously didn't check it before I came on. But it is underneath the River Thames. It's underneath the water of the River Thames.
Wow.
Probably 70% of the time. And when the tide goes down, you can actually get on the beach side of the Thames and go under the boardwalk and actually get it. So that's a higher rating cache. There is higher rating caches around. I know not too much from where I am at the moment. The only higher rated caches around my area are tree climbs. We do have caches. I do have a bunch of caches nearby that do love a tree climb. But if you were to go, I think more. I know I found this when I went to Wales a few years back, going to like the Snowdonia National Park sort of region.
Right.
That's very mountainous, so it's got a lot of slate rock and all that sort of stuff. So
Right.
the terrain ratings would definitely be different there. But in the centre of London, there is a lot of 1-1s, unless you really seek out the few that are a little bit more of a challenge within London.
What
I do
about
recommend, if anybody hasn't done the Father Thames one, I'd definitely recommend it. But bring an extra pair of trousers, because when
Right.
I did it, I got silt up to the knees, and it was one of the first caches I did the day. So
Wow.
walking around London with silt up to my knees, which was a bit of a weird one.
Do you have a lot of puzzle? Because around the Dallas area, for example, there's a lot of difficulty 5s, or I don't know, really terrains change, but people love to put out very hard puzzles. And of course, the final is usually not anything tremendous, but they're really hard to do. So, do you guys have a lot of hard puzzles that are out there for?
Oh yeah, definitely. I know locally in my area, I have a cacher called, I think, Geodude. And she's quite well known now for placing a lot of puzzles around this, especially around this area. And a lot of people go. I know somebody said, "Does anybody need any help with caching?" And somebody put up, "Yeah, I need help with Geodude's puzzle. If anybody knows how to solve it, do that."
Right.
She's very, very good. I'm not a puzzle guy. I have recently bought the book of how to puzzle. So I'm starting to go through that because I want to try and hit a few more puzzles. Because I noticed whilst doing Planetary Pursuit, I needed puzzles to get those points. But the Geodude's puzzles around this area I know are especially good. There's a lot of puzzles around London. I think there's more what I would describe as cash and goes around this sort of area, London especially, where it's telling you a bit about history. So there's not too many in the way of puzzles, but there is some really tough ones around. I know that for certain, especially around the southeast. There is definitely.
Right.
Do you notice one of the conversations Gary and I have often, because we both travel a decent bit and we've been to each other's locations where we live, caching. Do you notice area to area, the terrain and difficulty are definitely different on how they rate them in a local area?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's as I say, going to Wales, I think when I actually look previously back at my higher rating difficulty and terrain rating caches, a lot of them come from like Wales. A couple actually from Florida as well, just because the roads and things are a bit like sandy roads and things. But yeah, no, there's definitely a difference in areas. As I say, if you go Kent way, you're looking more at sort of like rural sort of clip and lock boxes and those sort of things. But yeah, if you to go more up north, there's definitely a lot more different ones. When we went to Devon, there's Dartmoor National Park down there, and that's quite undulated, and it's a lot of wilderness, if you were. And the caches there are different. That's for certain.
Yeah, one thing we found is, and see if this holds up where you're at, Paul. But for example, what we don't have where I live, the terrain there's no terrain unless you climb a tree. So so what happens down here is that we will most people, not completely, but in many times, people will put a terrain rating that is much higher than what Jesse experiences in Colorado. For example, down here, for the most part, any kind of tree climb is a 5. It's immediately a 5, just because it's a tree climb, and most people, or if you have to do anything around some water, it's going to be a 5 because you're having to do something out of the ordinary. Whereas where Jesse is, it has to be a lot more, because
they would call us out pretty quick,
right?
Here.
But down here they don't do that. So
now here they would though. They would definitely. There's a lot of mountaineering people up here. So I've been on 3 terrains that were many miles hikes in the mountains. That you're doing a little bit of scramble, you're doing stuff like that, and they're like, 3, and it's people are pretty. If you were to try to fudge that around here, and for the most part, I mean, if it's a new cacher that doesn't know what they're doing, nobody's going to jump on them generally around here. But if it's somebody that's just obviously inflating it, they would they'd call it out pretty good.
So, like in
Yeah.
your area, Paul, like where Devon is, you find that their ratings are going to be maybe a little lower than what a
Yeah,
London person
definitely.
might do. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think I did one cache which was called Basil, which was it was a rat hanging underneath. It's a Monty Python
Right.
joke. I'm not too familiar with Monty Python, I must admit.
Mhm.
But it's a Monty Python joke, and it's a rat hanging from a noose underneath a bridge, but you had to go through a stream to get it. And I think that was possibly a 3.5. So for me, if I was to place that cache, being in my area, I'd probably put it 4.5.
Right.
And it's just I agree with you. The difficultiness of it kind of being,
Mhm.
I think that is a factor as well. There, I definitely do. So, especially as like London, as I say, is a lot flatter, and there's not too many different terrain sort of ratings around. Yeah.
So one of the things that I'm really interested in, and I'm kind of curious to see how popular it is in other areas too, is challenges. Do you get into the challenge caches much, or is that popular in your area, or?
I think it is popular in the area. I think there is a few challenges. I know that we have when we had London 2012 Olympics. There is a couple of Olympic rings, and I think there's bronze, silver, and gold rings, and I think you can only get those caches if you've done certain types
Mhm.
of
Right.
other caches, or you found a certain amount of different caches in different
That's
countries. I
cool.
think it is.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately I don't qualify for any of those because I haven't cached that amount out of England. But
Yeah.
there is ones. I've hit a 5 counties challenge, which went from London all the way down to West Sussex
Mhm.
before, and that's kind of fun. We do have. There is a lot of people I know are doing a lot of different challenges down here. I normally set my own sort of challenges. I don't actually do like actual proper challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there is definitely challenges around. I don't know too
Mhm.
many of them, but
Right.
there's definitely some around. That's for certain.
So what about like the main? So the main ones for here anyway are like the fizzy. So filling out your DT grid. That's
Oh yeah.
probably. And then now one that's easier for us to do is the Jasmer challenge. So
Oh yeah.
finding it, all the way back is, I'm sure that's considerably harder where you
Yeah,
are.
it is. I know a couple people that are where they're finding caches and they're posting up. Oh, found this from a Jasmine challenge.
Mhm.
I think we can only go so far before we start running out of dates over here.
Right.
Don't y'all call it? You have one called it's called a UK Jasmer, don't you, Paul? Where you can kind of finish.
I've heard of it. I don't know
Okay.
too much about it. If I'm totally honest, I think there is a UK Jasmer. I honestly don't know too much about it.
Yeah.
It's definitely something I'd look up in the future if that's possible.
Mhm.
So yeah.
What about an equivalent? We have one of the big or one of the real common challenges here. Besides, I guess we didn't mention the filling in all the days of your calendar. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah,
universal.
that,
But
that's popular. Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
big things here is counties and states. People trying to fill in a certain number or all of the counties and states in a state, or just as many as they can get. Do you have some kind of equivalent like for that?
We do. We have English counties and Scottish and Wales counties and Irish
Mhm.
counties as well, which people like to fill in those. That's for certain. I know there's a few people recently have put up on a few of the UK caching pages saying that they've actually completed all of them.
Mhm.
So there is those sort of challenges around. I must admit, there's I know the two most popular here that I've seen personally
Mhm.
are, as you say, your 366 days and your DNT rating. And I know there's a
Yeah.
few people that are now they've completed their 366 day challenge, and now they're going, okay, well, I'm going to redo it. So I'm going to
Yeah.
have find two
Double
or
it
three
up.
caches a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
I know a few people are trying to do that at the moment as well. They're
Right.
the more popular challenges personally that I've seen around this
Mhm.
area.
Right.
There is a few. I must admit, there's a few other challenges around, but they're not very popular or well known really.
Mhm.
So yeah,
They seem to be. It's different, I guess, depending on how long you've been caching and what area you're in. Here, I think challenges are really big in some areas, and some people are just not interested in them. So I guess it's
yeah.
location to location too.
I have to admit, I think I agree because when we were in Devon doing the UK Devon Mega, I did hear a lot of talk about challenges down there, a lot more than what I probably would over on the southeast side.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it might be area to area where it might be more popular down there because they've just got a little bit more difficulty sort of terrains. Where up here it's a little bit more easier. I'm not too sure, to be honest, with that one, but yeah.
Now around here, in different, I've been fortunate. I've never had anyone. We call them Leos, law enforcement officers. I don't know. Have you ever been stopped by what we call a Leo and had to explain to them what you're doing and why you're looking
Yes.
suspicious?
Yeah, I've been stopped 2 times, 2 memorable times.
Okay.
Once before I fully met who Terrapin Tim was.
Right.
I was doing his, I think they're called Can You Dig It series,
Mhm.
and I was struggling to find the first one, and I was wearing a high-vis jacket, and I always remember when I started, and I remember looking back towards where my car was parked down this little wooden sort of lane.
Right.
I saw a lady with a dog sort of like standing there. They suddenly noticed I was looking at her, turned and just walked off. I didn't think too much of it. I thought the dog was doing its business and she was waiting.
Right.
And so I carried on finding the caches. And as I came back, I was thinking, I've got to go back to number 1 because I never did find that.
Right.
And suddenly I noticed somebody else in a high-vis jacket walking towards me.
Oh my!
And it was the police. And he went and he patted me on the shoulder and went, Mr. Standen, nice to see you. He was like, oh, you're shocked. Somebody knows my last name.
What's your name?
Because it was a private road, there wasn't many cars parked down there, and I was parked quite near the entrance to this thing. They've worked 2 and 2 together, and they've pulled up my car details, I'm guessing.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, can you explain what you're doing here? So I had to explain geocaching. And luckily the bloke knew exactly what it was.
Oh, good. That's good.
Yeah, it's always handy.
Yeah.
And here, as I said, well, he goes, yeah, there was a local that saw you, so I'm guessing it was the lady with the dog. The local had seen you, and she said you were acting suspicious. And then he did actually follow it on by saying, but you are wearing a bright high-vis jacket, which is not normally usual for a burglar.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm here and I'm robbing.
Right.
But yeah, that was one thing, and they were quite happy. I asked them could I film them as part of my vlog. They said no. So we carried on.
Darn it!
Yeah, I was like, you don't have to. I can blur your faces out, and they were like, no, we'd rather you not. So I was like, okay, fair enough. So that was the first time, and I have to admit, even if I was a policeman, the second time round, I would have stopped to find out what I was doing. It was not long after my youngest was born, all those 4 or 5 years ago,
right?
And one of my caches, which is a Travel Bug Hotel, which has got over 129 favourite points at the time.
Oh, cool.
It was in need of like maintenance,
Mm-hmm.
and my little one was playing up. She was it was like I think it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. So I thought, okay, well I'm awake now. I can't go back to sleep. I'm quite a light sleeper. I'll go and sort out my cache. And so I went there, and it's quite near quite near the M25 motorway, which for people that don't know, kind of goes all around London.
So it's a busy one. It's very busy.
It is a busy one, and so I pulled up and I was doing my business, sorting this box out.
Yeah.
Attached to the fence, and this car pulled up and in a very cockney way of saying, "Hello, mate. What's going on?"
Yeah.
So I turned around and said, I'm just sorting my box out," and I always remember his face go, "What?"
Right.
I'm sorting my box out. I'm geocaching.
Yeah.
And he said, "You're what now?" So I went over there. Luckily, the outside container is what I was dealing with. The inside container is another container. So I just had that in my hand, and I went, "I'm geocaching. Do you know what that is?" He said no. So I explained it to him, and he still looked puzzled. So I showed him the logbook. I said, "Look, these are the people that found it." And I said, I've got a newborn, woken me up, and I basically told him everything truthfully, which I always feel is best to do in those sort of situations.
Absolutely.
Not so much when the muggles ask you, but when police ask you, I tend to tell the truth.
That's for sure. Yeah.
And I've got another funny story about the other day, but that's for another time. But yeah, so he was happy with everything. He said, "Oh, okay, how long are you going to be here?" I said, "I'm literally just putting in the last screw." And he was like, "Okay, good, right, I'll leave you to it." And he went off. But as I said, 4 o'clock in the morning, pitch darkness. A car's pulled up along the side of motorway, and it's sorting out a box that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I can understand why he pulled me. I'd have pulled myself over. I must admit.
Right.
So yeah.
Pull yourself over. I love it.
So
But
you still have bomb scares over there too, right? Where the
yeah,
police come and I think I've heard of
yeah,
a few of those.
yeah. There
We have
was there
those.
was one a few years ago. I know London Bridge got closed down because they found a suspicious box, which we
Oh
believe
no.
to be the cache container, and
Was it
got this
really?
massive. Yeah,
Oh
I
wow!
think it
So
was.
it really was a
So
geocache. Yeah,
That's no good.
that's
yeah,
bad. Yeah,
That's
we've
not good
had
for
it.
the game there.
No.
no, but it's that cache is still going and everything's fine. I think one of the police officers at the time of that, from what I remember somebody saying, was actually a cacher, so knew roughly what it would have been.
Right.
But yeah, that's it's always fun. So
One of the other things that's fascinating to me, and people here don't think about it much, but we've talked. I don't remember who we were talking to last time. We've talked to several people from other countries, and one of the things we're always worried about when we do something we hide a more extreme cache is the liability of people getting hurt and then
yeah,
suing us.
yeah.
Are they as litigious over there as they seem to be here?
Not so much. I haven't heard much of that at all. We do still get told by the reviewers to put a disclaimer for any hard cash going off. You do everything in your own risk, sort of thing. But yeah, I don't hear of any people suing at all over here, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, it's a good thing. But yeah. I'm really sorry to do this. I'm just going to quickly deal with my little girl who's just turned up in the corner here.
No
Is
problem.
that all right? Sorry, just
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll be back.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see you in a minute. No problem.
Yeah, sorry.
That'll give us a second to talk about AMS travel sales.
That's right. Give us a chance to do one of our sponsors.
Like commercial break. That's not a commercial break.
It really kind of worked out as great as a commercial break, but yeah, AMS Travel Sales is one of our sponsors of our show, and if you want to go out to AMS, oh, you're fine. We're just talking about AMS Travel Sales.
Okay.
They are doing. They're a one of our great sponsors. They specialize in creating lasting memories of exotic destinations. You can even go over to the UK area, Europe, Mexico, Caribbean, Asia, Australia. AMS Travel Sales also is very much into geocaching. And so if you're interested in finding out more about the different discounts, they have several discounts for people that listen to the show. So definitely contact them, info@amstravelsales.com. And they will get you set up with your discounts for some travels. And I know Jesse's contemplating Costa Rica.
I'm trying to save my pennies now. I'd love to go on that Costa Rica trip. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, going to Costa Rica. Yeah, it's a geocaching trip. So that's you gotta love it when you find a travel company that actually loves geocaching and actually caters directly to geocaching. So we love having them on board with us.
I really hope I get to report on them in person in the future.
That would be awesome.
That would be great.
Yes. As we start to get toward to the end of the show tonight, we do want to ask you about a couple series, which I think are interesting, and we'll talk about finish up with another item for you. But something I've noticed that you've done, and I've seen other fellow UK people who have done UK fans and friends of ours, is the Church Micro series.
Oh, yeah.
That seemed interesting. So, what all do you know about the Church Micro series, and what can you tell everyone about those?
Well, the Church Micro series started back in, I believe, November 2007. It started by a geocacher over here, who is a fairly local geocacher, called Sadex Explorum. And Sadex just started placing caches at nearby churches. The church number one actually is down the road in Nutfield.
Oh, wow.
And
not far away. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite handy. And it's basically, normally it's a micro film canister.
Right.
And they're normally 90%, well, I'm not say 90, probably 80% of the time are multi-caches. So
Oh,
you normally
interesting.
have to find either a plaque on the church, or
Mhm.
in some rare cases, you actually have to go into the church itself to get more information.
Right.
Or a lot of times it's finding a grave and working out the
Mhm.
dates of date and death and all that sort of stuff, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
But there's thousands of them now. It's the biggest series within the UK.
Hmm.
And it's some of the churches, especially the more northern ones, to me,
Mhm.
well, a lot further away from me, are
Right.
very pretty. I think one of the most famous church micros around my area is Westminster. I think Westminster's
Oh,
chapel, the
Westminster Abbey.
Westminster Abbey. So
Right.
you know better than I am, and I should
I've
know
been
that.
there.
Yeah.
It's great. It's an awesome place to go. I mean, you got to see,
Yeah.
regardless of your background or whatever, you've got to go see these churches because
Mm.
the architecture, the history
Yeah.
is incredible. And so I really like the idea that they came out with these, because we were talking about before the show that there are plenty of little streets,
Oh yeah.
little roads that people don't normally go down because it's not part of
You
your
wouldn't normally know
standard.
they're there. Put it that way.
Right.
It does like I know that a lot of the times they do like to take you to places that you wouldn't necessarily know there
Right.
was there, or it was a nice view. Is a lot of the
Mhm.
time. There is traditional caches as well that they do where the church in itself is so beautiful. It's just all you have to do is place a traditional there, and you can see it.
Right.
And yeah, nice. The Church Micro Series is I believe it's in lots of different countries as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's just I think I can't remember how many for the life of me. I can't remember how many there is now, but
Right.
there is a lot. I own one. Not a church
That's
that I say
cool.
particularly stunning, but it's a
But
nice
it's
church, local church.
yeah, that's
But it
neat.
adds to the series, and everywhere you go, I've been in Wales, I've been up north, I've been down in the southwest. There's always a church
Mhm.
micro there, a bit like the
Right.
sidetrack series. There's always one of those there as well. But church micro, I would say, is probably the number one sort of I would say
Big.
UK
Yeah.
dedicated series, and it's really nice. Some of the churches I lived in the local area for years, and there's churches that I didn't even realise existed in the area.
Right.
Mm.
So it's quite interesting to find that sort of thing, and a lot of the time on the cache pages is history as well. And as I was saying earlier, I do like to try and work out about history, and it's just
Mhm.
nice to kind of work these things together. And yeah, it's quite interesting. A lot of places it takes you. It's quite nice,
Yep.
definitely.
And you mentioned about the sidetrack series a minute ago, so
Mm.
let's spend some time talking about what is the sidetrack series. And by the way, if you want to play along at home as you're listening, if you pull up sidetrackedseries.info,
Yep, that's the one.
sidetracked tracked series.info. So, all right.
Yeah, yeah. The sidetrack series is I find more enjoyable than the Church Micro. I know that's a very hot debate over in the UK. What sort of major series do you like? There's loads of series. I have to admit, you've got Life's a Beach down
Oh,
in
okay.
Devon.
Cool.
You've got a lot of them, but there's the two that always pop up are you more of a Church Micro fan or a sidetrack fan? For me, I like the sidetrack fan there.
Cool.
Sidetracks are within the vicinity, but not on railway property. So normally it's outside stations.
Right. Sure.
And again, they can be quite pretty. There's quite a few. It
Mhm.
sounds really
Oh,
weird to
yeah.
say a station that over here we have amazing architecture and stuff, and King's Cross especially,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
where it's got like the virtual cache where platform. I'm not a Harry Potter fan. Platform 3 3/4 or whatever it is that's in the Harry
Oh,
Potter books.
gotcha.
Um, yeah, there's a virtual cache I believe there for that as well. But yeah, the Church Micro Series is really interesting. It takes you to a lot of churches.
Mhm.
Again, it talks about the history. So um, it's very similar to a Church Micro. But I just find it interesting. It's nice to see the trains and stuff. I
Yeah,
find
that is cool.
it goes back to me being little and playing with a little toy train set. I think.
Exactly.
But there's loads of variations of sidetrack you can get as well. You can get a tube sidetrack, so like the London Underground. There's
Mhm.
lots of tube
The tube.
sidetracks.
Yep.
You've got tram sidetracks, so obviously at tram stations, which I've been hitting a lot lately. There's really sidetracks, which used to be there, which are no longer there. They might have the building is maybe now like a shop or something. So yes, it's quite interesting. It does. Again, they started in 2007. I think it was August by Biker Mel, I believe. I think in the Midlands, I think it started. But that's
there are a lot of them
everywhere.
too.
There is a lot of them.
I'm looking at them right now on that page, and there's tons of them.
29 in America, I believe. Americans have got.
That's amazing.
There's obviously
in 25 different countries that
yes.
the series is all the way out to Belarus, Germany, France, Ireland, UK. I think it's fascinating though. This means you to be part of the Sidetrack series, obviously you've got to do it correctly, or they're not going to put you on there. They're not going. Obviously, the reviewer will probably kill it anyway. But so you have to be able to prove to them, I guess, that it's not on national railway property.
Yes, I've had it quite a few times where I've said it's on a fence, and where the reviewers have obviously looked at Google Street Maps and fences are no longer there because it's an older picture and things like that, and then they're questioning old and disable that. What fence are we talking about here?
Yeah, and you can't put it in the car park. I think that would be somewhere. I mean, my initial thought.
I must admit.
Yeah, but it's a fascinating idea for a series.
When they're all types too, not just traditional. There's multis, puzzles, virtual.
Where it
goes, and even that other Earth Cache type.
Yeah.
You're so funny. And you get badges. This is what I'm seeing. Badges.
You get profile badges as well. So you can get like profile rank badges, which you can. I think it tells you that you can become different sort of railway employee. So you can be like an engineer all the way up to like a driver to it's quite cool. I must admit, but it has taken us to. I remember one in Devon, which is probably my most favourite sidetrack, which is called Buckfastleigh, and it's an old steam train railway station,
right?
And but they're carrying it on. And it's like they do like runs like 3 or 4 miles down the road to other stations, but they use the old-fashioned steam trains.
Oh, very cool.
To see, and that's quite. And all the people that work there wear the old-fashioned British Railway sort of get up. So awesome. It's really good to watch. I must admit those sort of things. But the Sidetrack series, personally, in my opinion, is one of the better series within the UK. Don't get me wrong, Church might win before I get abused.
Well, they are for their they're it's different. It's apples and oranges, and they're both really great. We'll definitely put it that way. But they have events. They've got geocoins. They've got
there's even a leaderboard, which is great.
They got a leaderboard.
Oh, I know, leaderboard. Yeah, I have to admit, I think my good friend Terrapin Tim, I think is definitely up there in the finders section. I think. From memory, as I'm desperately trying to double check.
It's funny because the number one person has found 1,120 of them. That's more than a lot of people find total caches.
Total, let alone just the Sidetrack series.
Just one series.
Took me 4 years to find 1,000 caches, and he's found that.
That's awesome.
But no, there's a lot of. It's really weird because I think there's like I could be totally wrong. I think around our way there must be like a little competitive streak between friends, because if I look at this now, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, and number 13 are all in this area.
Right. That's
so
awesome.
All ribbing each other, going, so are you going out to find Sidetrack? Oh, you are. Right, we need to get there before he does.
Right.
Yeah.
So
got to up your got to up your count so that you don't get behind.
Yeah,
That's
I think
awesome.
so, definitely.
One thing before we totally close out the show, and I know we got a couple more things to talk about, but I didn't ask about it. What about FTFs? Is that?
Oh yeah, FTF hounds.
FTF hounds like we do, or
hounds? Hounds,
yes.
Definitely. We got hounds. Yeah, I've got a local geocacher in my area who, if you can beat, you should be very proud of yourself. You have a beer at the end of the night with a celebratory. You've managed to crack it before him. There is definitely hounds all around England. I had a couple of years ago. I had a big group of Kent cachers come to find one of my extreme caches down the road. and they were talking about. I said, "Oh, well, there's a first to find recently popped up," and they were like, "Oh, I bet so and so is probably there," because they think obviously that he's everywhere. But every area has that one person who's very, very on it with. A lot of the time, strangely enough, one of the local first to find hound here, somebody put up second to find after him, and they said, "Oh, I swear he sits in his car with the car idling, waiting for the reviewer to
That's
publish
funny.
he's like in the Batmobile, he's ready to go."
Funny.
Yeah, seeing that our I don't know about you guys, but our reviewers always kind of publish at the same time. There's no sporadic difference to it.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can always guarantee my local my local reviewer
Right.
will publish it normally between 6 and 8 o'clock in the morning. So if you're waiting for those first to finds, roughly. He does occasionally throw it up, but not very often. So
usually, yeah.
So he knows what sort of time that our local reviewer is going to get on there. So yeah, he's waiting. He's waiting in his car. I swear he is. It's good fun though. It is good fun. I just generally, I know quite a few caches out there are like, I've got to beat him. I've got to get there first. So they're on it. But yeah.
Your buddy Dan's in the chat room, by the way. So.
Is he? Oh, Mr. Close. Hello, Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Dan.
He's in there.
Good lad.
One of our friends over here in Houston, Texas, Dave, he wanted to know if there are any geo tours in the London area. There's one.
Oh, not in the London area. No, nearby. We have one in the UK, the South Downs National Geo Tour.
Okay.
We have from London. It's probably about an hour and a half drive away.
Okay.
And I think you fill out a passport and all that, and you can get a coin and that sort of thing. But it's a very beautiful area because the South Downs National Park has got lovely views and everything.
Oh, neat.
I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, they're mentioning that. I think they said there's one. Geocacher Wayne was saying that they think there's maybe one in Scotland too, but definitely the one
I think there could be actually.
So South Downs Geo Tour, maybe one in Scotland. That's kind of cool. So there you go.
Yeah, I think there's possibly one in Scotland. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife's telling me in the chat room that's another reason why we need to go back to Scotland is for a Geo Tour. So yeah, there's plenty of reasons. So Neil Moore is asking about public transportation. Neil? What is your actual question there, buddy? Because there's a lot of public transportation in the UK.
There is
probably if it's used for caching much or.
Oh, do people maybe that's
yeah.
Geocaching. Adam was talking about a subway cache and dash. Yeah. So do a lot of people
use like the London Underground. They go along, come off, grab a cache, go back on. The whole idea of the sidetrack cache is meant to
cache
be,
and
I think I'm quoting their website now is for the weary traveller. So it's meant to be. Right. It's meant to be. You go out, you get a cache, you come back in. Obviously, that doesn't always work because there is puzzle caches in the sidetrack series as well. But the whole idea of it is meant to be a quick cache and dash for the weary traveller, I believe.
Oh,
so
cool.
yeah.
So yeah, that was Neil's question. Was basically the idea behind in a lot of parts of the U.S. you can do that, but many parts of the U.S. that's not available. But I like that idea that you can, if I was like you talking about, Paul, as you plan ahead, you could take a lovely train ride, get off, grab a cache, get back on, keep going, that kind of thing.
Yep. Especially on the London Underground because you're getting trains every 3 to 4 minutes, there's no delays, which does happen quite often.
Well, sure.
It does everywhere. So yes, you can always. I believe I've done it once before where I've managed to come out of a station, get the cache, and kind of get back on exactly the same train.
Oh wow!
So yeah, so I've managed to do that once. That is a challenge, but it doesn't happen very often.
Otherwise, wait a few minutes and you catch the next one.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, and you are literally waiting minutes. There isn't that long between the two. So yeah.
Right. Anyway, so we want to wrap up tonight, and we'll go around the room here in a moment. But the national, you got a national geocaching award.
Oh yeah.
Best vlog blog. So you're up against the bloggers too, huh?
Yeah, the National Geocaching Awards. I can see it up there at the moment.
Yep.
I've got it on the wall,
Cool.
proud and everything. The Geocaching Blogger or Vlogger of the Year. The Devon Mega. They did their second ever Geocaching Awards, the National Geocaching Awards. They celebrate people from Wales, Ireland, Scotland, UK in general.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It was quite a prestigious sort of event. It's nice to kind of get people to say, "Oh, you're doing well."
Absolutely.
So yeah, I was up against a few good people. I know Katie Close, which is Dan Close's daughter, who makes YouTube videos. Was also up against the Geocaching Junkie.
Yeah.
As well. That's who I was a little bit worried about. I was like, oh, was she? Yeah, but no.
Great blog.
Fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic blogs.
Definitely.
I'm surprised they don't split y'all. Well, I guess maybe they don't have enough, or they feel like they put y'all in the same category. But that's cool, though.
Yeah, they did the year before. They did podcasts as well, in the same thing, and I lost out to the UK podcast show.
The UK podcast.
Yeah, so I lost out to those guys. So I was wriggling. So I was like, I've got to do something better this year.
They do better.
But they sponsored it, I must admit, this year. So I thank them very much. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to get, and it is in any sort of area of award. It's nice to get somebody saying you're doing a good job. Keep it up. So yeah. So anybody that voted for me, thank you very much. So
you're doing a great job. Paul. We know we have a lot of. I know you have a lot of fans over in the U.S. who love watching your vlogs. I've loved them for years. I think I was.
Thank you.
You and I have talked before, even before I started doing a podcast. I think you and I actually communicated way back in the way back when you first started. I would comment because I love what you were doing. It's one of them that's for me is I always go back to whenever I hear you've got another one out. I always want to watch your latest.
Thank you very much, mate.
Yeah, and once in a while you and I can pop on a Periscope now, which is kind of fun. I get to watch some of those from you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. We get good reviews. Well, not good reviews. We get good feedback from people.
Yeah.
Because we do a monthly one now, and we try and do a little giveaway as well. Not always a lot of things, or particularly what people want, but we are giving away things.
That's awesome.
Nice as well. So yeah, I quite like it. I must admit. And it is nice to kind of have like you guys joining in as well. It's always nice to see you guys commenting and stuff. So thank you very much for your support, really. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So Jesse, I'm gonna let you final comments, and then I'll let Paul make some final comments, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay. So it's always fascinating to me, and I love when we get to talk to people that are in other places, especially places that I've never cached. And it really, I don't know, it gets me excited about future travel. Hopefully I get to go over there and cache with you one day. And
fingers crossed.
And I think we take it for granted. I guess we do the same style of caching all the time, but we don't have clipping locks or whatever. But just the little differences, I think those are pretty fascinating. Even for here, even traveling just to different states, it's really different. So I think the international caching is really, and some people get to do that. They get to move from, country to country, but I haven't really got to do that a whole lot yet. But I'm really looking forward to that part. So thanks for coming on and kind of talking about that, and keep those videos going. Everybody loves them. So
cheers, mate. Thank you very much. And it's lovely to hear it, that people actually like watching it. Because when I started, I have to admit, I was looking back at my videos thinking, no one's going to want to watch these. so I still occasionally think that as well. But
no,
people actually say they've really enjoyed watching it, or it's really, it makes it feel like it's worthwhile for me doing it. There is times where, unfortunately, you do get trolls and people do, and you kind of go, why do I even bother? You obviously don't understand what I'm trying to get. But it's nice to actually hear that people do understand what I'm talking about and where I'm showing you. So it's lovely to have feedback. So thank you very much, Jesse. Thank you very much.
So, Paul, to wrap up, any final thoughts or anything else you would like to mention? We're gonna miss having you over here for Woodstock, but
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
We understand.
I'm not going.
I know we understand. But Anyway, but yeah, but just in general, what are some last anything else you'd like to mention?
No, all I was going to say is apologies that I can't get out to Geo Woodstock. I really wanted to. I have to admit, it was at one point it was something that I was definitely going to try and do. It was going to be a case of at one point I was looking at flights and was going, oh, okay, I'm going to get there at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to be leaving at like midnight on the same day and things like that, just to get there. I know it doesn't sound very particularly interesting, but it's yeah. If only I could get there. I must admit,
there'll be other ones. There'll be other megas.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. But this one is just kind of, I think, because there's a lot of vloggers going to it, and it being like the Americans' first giga, it would just be nice to be part of the history, if you get me. But for £500 just for flights alone is just I unfortunately I can't make it.
Yeah.
But as you say, hopefully there will be more. I know the wife is pricing up coming back to the States. So not sure where yet, but hopefully, fingers crossed, I can come back in the lovely sunshine, which is majorly lacking here in the UK.
Over there right now.
We had 4 days of lovely hot weather where everybody was buying fans and all of a sudden now they're saying Monday the top half of the country is getting snow and the rest of us is getting heavy rain and wind. So it's like, okay, well, it was nice. Summer was nice. It's gone now. But yeah.
Oh no.
So hopefully it all gets back to normal. I'm hoping we can get back to the States soon, and hopefully we will try and get near you guys and maybe to get up and get some caching done. That's what I'm hoping for. Definitely.
Well, again, thank you so much, Paul, for being on tonight. You know, we had a couple things we weren't sure. We had some technical things we weren't sure if it was going to work out, but it worked out great, and everything worked out. Everything worked out great. And we do appreciate you being up. You know, it's late there, and we really do appreciate. You know, and we're wrapping up for tonight. So, well, coming up on the show next week, we're going to talk about caches. The show's called "Do You Know the Way to Cincinnati?" And we're going to talk about. See what I did there? I like that.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about caches that you could find if you were going to Geo Woodstock, and it's always kind of a fun thing to talk about. Is what are some caches that you might find on your way to Cincinnati? And kind of gives. This is actually going to be the first time for Geocache Talk. We're going to have the whole Geocache Talk network on. Both of our affiliates are going to be on with us, all 4 of us. So Sodak Zach and Geocaching Janji will be on to discuss, and so all 4 of us first show, first show with all of us. So we'll have a lot of fun, and we'll give Zach a really hard time because that's what we want to try to do. So in 2 weeks, we're going to have on Matthew Janiak. He is the Georgia Geocaching Association rep that we're having on, we're talking about weekly challenges that they do in Georgia. So that should be interesting to hear how they handle that for the whole state of Georgia. And then we're going to have on Hendel, back to the international show. We're going to have on Hendel. He lives in Germany, and we're going to get an update on what he's been doing. He went and did a cache in Germany that sounds fascinating. So we're going to get a lot of good updates from Hendel. And that show is currently scheduled for 3 p.m. on that Sunday because, again, we're in different time zones. And so anyway, so Hendel be on 3 weeks, show 99. And then I should go ahead and mention show 100, which we're going to be doing in 4 weeks. And Jesse and I are working on the plans for that. And it's a little dicey because I'm going to be coming back from Geo Woodstock, and I'm going to do that from a hotel room. Hopefully we won't have any issues doing show 100, but you never know sometimes. But I don't think we're crossing our fingers that everything is going to go well. So, okay. Well, again, folks, we hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Email us your comments at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter @geocachetalk, or mine's @GarySlinkard. And Instagram, we're becoming really big on Instagram. So we've got a couple, Geocache Talk and Memphis Mafia. Jesse's putting a lot of stuff on Instagram. And right now we've got a contest going on Geocache Talk on Instagram. So go over there, follow the instructions, and you might win this coin right here. Let me pull it up. Here it is. It is. And let me block the number. There we go. It is a. It's a Jedi lightsaber. So we're giving that away. May the 4th be with you. We're giving away on May the 4th. See what we did there? May the 4th be with you. Okay. For all you Star Wars fans out there. So get out there and you might win a cool, I think it's a cool coin just because, the fact that it's, it's not regularly shaped. So it's a lightsaber. I think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Shook can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, all sorts of places. So, and don't forget to click on the subscribe button below, and it will remind you of when the show is on, and you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. Until next week, don't just talk about geocaching. Go check out Geopaul's adventures, and then go geocaching. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Night, everyone.